Every time Alan thought about his wife's past, two words flashed in his brain: damaged goods, and he hated it. He said he'd had a bad experience with another therapist because of these words. It was about our sex life. Our non-existent sex life, Alan said. My wife and I haven't had sex for over 2 years, so we went to see this couples therapist. I've got an idea where this is going. My wife says she's got a low libido, low desire, Alan says. But I know that's not true, because you two used to have more of a sex life, I said. Yeah, we did, but she had much more sex before we met, and I know that for a fact. She was up for anything back then. Meeting men on nights out, Alan said, bringing them home. I even know who some of them were, because we live in a small town, and I hate that. I've always hated it. And then she says she's got a low libido. So what happened at couples therapy? Alan sighed. I was trying to explain why my wife's past has always hurt me, why I bring it up when she rejects me. She doesn't know what it's like for me. I see another man and I think, was he one of them? And I told the therapist, I said, I know this is bad, but it's how it makes me feel. Damaged goods. I'm married to damaged goods. What did the therapist say? I asked. Well, she took my wife's side. Of course she did. She said that this was verbal abuse. And I need to realise how my wife feels hearing that. Well, I know it. I hate saying it. I hate thinking it. But I think of her with other men, and there it is. It's not great, is it? I mean, Alan is being very honest, but no wonder his marriage is in crisis, because this is what retroactive jealousy does sometimes. It takes our hurt and it turns it into the harshest possible judgment. But here's the thing. Alan is conflicted by these two words. This idea, he hates it. This isn't actually how he sees his wife most of the time. It comes from a place of despair. Alan said it. I get these pictures in my mind of her with other men, vivid, pornographic pictures, and I think about how she is now and these problems, and there it is. She's damaged goods, and I just want to avoid her. In bed, I move as far as I can get to the other side, and I know it's not fair. For 25 years, she's been faithful to me. I still love her, Alan says. If only she hadn't done those things, or if I'd met her before all that, if I'd got there before. And here's the trick that retroactive jealousy is playing on Alan. He has a story going on that he's married to a woman who isn't attracted to him. And that part may be true. It's possible. And it's because she went with other men before him. She prefers these other men. She was up for anything with them, and these experiences changed her. And now she lies about having a low libido to avoid sex with Alan. It has a certain logic, this story. But is this evidence-based, or has he taken two things and connected them in his imagination? His very vivid imagination. We see this a lot with obsessive-compulsive thinking. It whispers, or sometimes it screams inside our mind. It goes for the gut punch. That's all she is. I'm a chump. I'm the type of man who marries damaged goods. Ouch. It's black and white. It's all or nothing. We're wired to have an emotional reaction to these kind of thoughts because he saw a man of a certain age across the street. That's why she doesn't want sex with me. The logic is flawed. Or the other way around. Alan tries to initiate sex with his wife and she turns him down. And he thinks of those men and it's because of them. It makes sense in the moment. The old story has kicked in. Latched onto this man in the street, whoosh, the rush of despair. The connection gets made, the trick is played, and Alan pushes his wife away by bringing up her past and other men. I did take Alan's wife's side, because this talk of damaged goods and this shaming her has got to stop. But I was careful not to shame Alan, or to shame him for having this kind of story, because we can't shame someone out of retroactive jealousy. It's tempting at times, but it doesn't work. In therapy, we do the opposite, actually. We need to have some compassion for ourselves as well as for our partner. Compassion for why we came up with this story, where it comes from. Because it's natural to not like thinking about our partner's sexual past, other men, etc. That's natural. But it's this story that has us thinking about it all the time. I had a couple of sessions with Alan and his wife to try to limit the damage to their relationship, essentially, because it was hanging by a thread and we needed some ground rules. They can't be having this fight about her past over and over. They need to time out when things flare up. And this is on Alan, but his wife can support him with that. See my other video on navigating this with your partner. Alan's wife is not going to tolerate being called damaged goods. And Alan doesn't need to tolerate thinking he's married to damaged goods either. 25 years of marriage says he's not. Yes, his wife slept with other men before him. Yes, they live in a small town, and that can be difficult. That can throw up reminders. Yes, their sexual connection needs work. There are desire issues. Being labelled damaged goods would kill anyone's desire. That's the consequence of living in the retroactive jealousy story, not proof that the story is true. And Alan's learning to notice this sequence. He sees a man of a certain age, a trigger. He has a what if. The story is activated, a whoosh of despair. Can he slow down? Can he ask himself, is this the trick again? What's really happening right now? He's working on this. He's seeing through the trick more often. He's just a guy in the street. He's calmer and he's more on his own 2 feet emotionally. He's not pushing his wife away, and over time, she's not pushing away from him. And this has potential. This is a new start for them both, and they could rebuild from there. I hope this is helpful. If retroactive jealousy hands you similar thoughts, harsh, judgmental thoughts that hurt you and offend your partner, maybe it's the same trick. Are you running a story, an old story with logic that doesn't really stack up? And there's no shame in recognizing that and then stepping up and working on it. Thank you for watching.